Hey everyone, Happy 097 here, and hold on, maybe I should get this up first. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming game, Marvel Realm of Champions. Incoming transmission, accept. Welcome to Planet Maelstrom, known to those upon it as Battleworld. Who is this? There will be a time for that, Summoner, but first we must speak of you. Amongst gods and eternals, your mortal name is legendary. It's time to leave the sidelines and become a champion yourself. Tell me who you are. I am one of the Watchers. We observe and record all that occurs across known realities. We are forbidden from interfering, but you may provide some assistance. How are we talking? I am making use of your technology in a familiar way called texting. I can use both written words and simple pictographs. What if I refuse? The balance of the cosmos and continuation of all life hangs in the balance. We trust you will choose wisely. I have been here before. Time ebbs and flows. You may have visited before and will visit again. Be sure to examine all that waits beyond, as it too may have changed since you last observed. Show me more. An apparition of the past appears before you.
We have a great responsibility over this world.
The price of freedom is high, but we are willing to pay it.
I have seen many futures. In all but one, war awaits.
Puny humans are just afraid of hope because we're the strongest.
Let war come! Asgardians thirst for the glory of Valhalla. You humans
I feel a
have not
divergence on the
changed.
time.
Still so
Treacherous.
Wizards, Hulks, demigods, let's be civil. Our realms have been butting heads for a long time. I don't know about you, but if fighting a secret war will prevent an open one, I'm game. Will you join me?
So it does look like it's coming this year, by the way. I am ready for what is next. Before you is a map of this world. Focus your mind's eye and continue to monitor this transmission. New realms will unveil themselves in due time. Enter the battle world. And here we have the battle world. So we'll start at the top and just go down. Start with the House of the Gamma Horde. Oh boy, don't zoom in. Got it. House of Gamma Horde. I'm not going to read through this. I'm not, because as you see, it's long. There's all territories and stuff. If you want this for yourself, go ahead. Go to the website, marvelrealmofchampions.com. But yeah, so basically the brief history is they started as one unified tribe, and they became a faction, and they each had factions, and they were each fingers to the fist, I guess. And they're controlled by Maestro, which, if you remember, this is a sequel to Contest of Champions. In Contest of Champions, Maestro was the guy responsible for everyone being trapped in crystals and the annoying hero collection stuff and all that, so yeah. Anyways, Maestro actually led these people, which should tell you they're very much these bloodthirsty people. Right now they're divided though, so yeah. Oh, and their system of government, whoever is strongest. It seems that their focus here really is just war and domination. Then we have the mutants, the Pyramid X, and the Baron Apocalypse. By the way, the Baron for the Gamma Horde was Scar, not a character we would know. But basically, their whole thing is mutants reign supreme and, well, as it says, survival of the fittest. They believe the mutants reign supreme, and they actually sided with Maestro when Maestro first came. Aside from that, they are definitely, we are going to take over the world people. Unfortunately. Next up, we have Asgard, which has changed drastically from what we last remember. Oh, and by the way, their Baron is War Thor, and yes, it's a female, not the Thor that we know, which is interesting. Oh, and the Bifrost is destroyed. I'll explain that in a sec. Oh yeah, they're for Death and Glory. Basically, they used to be pretty peaceful and stuff, and then Maestro came and nearly wiped them out. And so Odin destroyed the Bifrost, which caused an ice to go over the land and lots of places to be ruined. And a war broke out for an entire year of just bloodlust and all this stuff until War Thor came around. The system of government is basically military. So, very interesting and very different from the Asgard that we would know. Then we have the Patriot Garrison House, which is basically Captain America. Now, this one is probably the one that's most connected to the Contest of Champions, because you see this guy right here, this is the Civil Warrior, who is an first original character I think that Contest of Champions ever made. So yeah, this is his world. In this world, instead of the guy who made the Super Soldier Serum getting shot, Howard Stark got shot. And so, basically the world grew up without a Stark or an Iron Man, but with many Captain Americas. By the way, the guy who made the serum was the only person who was actually even able to administer it to others. The Howling Commandos actually were all super soldiers. Then the reality got sent to the battle world, and Maestro and Steve Rogers, who was the Civil Warrior at the time, decides to go, hey, let's go take down Maestro. He died. Oh, and now Maestro's dead, and so they're now free again because Maestro froze them in time. But now they're free, and Peggy Carter leads them now. She's the Baron, but they call her President. Their system of government is democracy. So, interesting. Now, before we keep going down, we got this place over here to go to. Yeah, I bet you didn't know this place existed. This is the house of the Temple of Vishanti and the Baron of the Ancient One, who actually is Stephen Strange here, except he thinks no longer Stephen Strange, I guess. He believes he's become more than just Strange. Sorcerer Supreme. Now, for what that says there, Sorcerer Supreme, it doesn't mean that sorcerers reign supreme, it just means that there's a bunch of Sorcerer Supremes here. So yeah, basically this used to be the island of Agamotto, but now it's the Isles. But the island got cracked by something called the Great Cleft. And also Maestro existence, so. And so they actually remained, I guess, neutral while Maestro came around. Not because they were trying to be peaceful, but because the Dark Realm was threatening to consume everything, and so they had to focus with that. And so yeah, now that the safeguards are back though, they're looking towards trying to figure out the real danger here. Yeah, their government is Interdimensional Federation. Basically, I don't think they have a government. I really don't. Next up, we're going to go to the Spider Guild, which is one of my favorites. it's probably not the one faction I'll choose, because this game seems to be choosing a faction. I really hope there's character customization, and considering they're saying that it's you who's leaving and becoming a champion now, I do hope there's going to be customization, and I hope it's like a third-person kind of game, not a overview game. Basically, I hope it's not one of those cliche mobile games. I'm hoping it's an actual good game, you know? Spider Guild. Power and responsibility. Oh, and by the way, this is directly linked to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So if you haven't watched that movie yet, first off, go watch it. Secondly, a lot of the stuff from that movie actually transfers over to here because, well, first off, they got the cliche line of, let's start at the beginning one more time. And then also, the person who leads this place, their Baron, is Madam Web, otherwise known as Gwen Stacy, the exact one from the movie. So yeah, that's interesting. Continuing on, basically the Fisk Labs thing happened, you know, and all the dimensions became severely risked, and Maestro existed, and so that mixed with the Fisk Lab technology dimension stuff really caused a lot of problems, and a lot of Manhattan is now Smout people, because a lot of the same Smout student is now stuck here. Basically, there's a lot of Spider-Men. And the great scientist, the spider scientist, opened doorway after doorway into other worlds, trying to find answers for how to get out of here. And instead they found symbiotes. They lost many people after that, and they shut off multidimensional research and limited to observations instead of actually, you know, interacting. They moved on to protect themselves first, or more specifically, protect their people first. And they now also are more spies than others. They're more of a spy group. They also provide neutral grounds, by the way, for all peace negotiations and stuff with all the other tribes. Basically, they're the neutral ground. However, it's very unlikely. Any mighty house of the battle world, there's almost always a spider in the shadows. Oh, and then the fun fact part, I'm going to read it to you word for word because it's great. While not being an actual island, Spider Island is named after Manhattan Island, which was teleported to the battle world. This fact was not as fun as first reported, and we apologize for misleading you. Just that extra line there makes it fun, so. Their system of government is basically every man for themselves, except they expect you to be good. And yes, while most of the people are different Parkers in this world, J. Jonah Jameson does remain in the basement of the Daily Bugle. And we're actually going to save Iron Man for last. We'll go to the Kingdom of Wakanda with the Baroness of Queen Shuri. Basically, they were brought to the battle world by Maestro like every other one, and they were put in political disarray. Because, well, T'Challa had a plan to open up Wakanda. Basically, they kind of became war people. They made shaky alliances and made trade routes. Wakanda thrived with the vibranium trading, but the Maestro Gamma Horde had started intercepting shipments for an unknown reason. After 14 years, T'Challa acted, and he got into the fortress of Maestro, and they figured out that Wakanda was meant to be wiped out. Yeah, I'm actually reading this as we're going. I forgot to read this beforehand, so sorry. He challenged him to ritualistic combat. It proved more than a challenge than any other, and T'Challa died. Maestro struck down his opponent, shattering both the Black Panther and the will of the people. Maestro accelerated his plans and created an event known as the Banishment, seemed to wipe out much of Wakanda out of existence. It is unknown if the Lost Lands were teleported, destroyed, or shifted to another dimension, but they are out of reach. The Vibranium Mound is now much smaller. Queen Shuri took over She does have a bit of disregard for tradition, though, and that puts many people uneasy. And also, she believes there must now be a Black Panther army, instead of just a singular Black Panther. So, yeah, the system of government is monarchy like it was before. The Lost Territories. Oh. This also explains, by the way, guys, why their land is so small. And now, finally, we will go to the House of Iron with the Baron of Stark Prime. This one I did read, don't worry. A suit of armor around the world. The Stark Tower was actually the first thing brought to the battle world, and Tony Stark, the alive one, and you'll understand what I mean by that later, decides that he's going to start bettering people's lives then. And basically, he dominates the government, but not in the evil way, and starts making Stark technology everything. So, yeah. Also, all that tech that he added allowed for longer lifespans. However, when Tony Stark eventually disappeared permanently, after a tragic accident in an Extremis experiment, and if you're a movie fan, you have no idea, but in the comics, Extremis was actually a Tony Stark project, not a evil team project. It actually allowed him to have the suit live within him. So yeah, eventually he died, and Stark Prime, the official AI simulacrum of Tony Stark, basically an AI with his personality and memories. And he replaced Jarvis. Basically, he's now Jarvis, except he's Stark. And he wants to improve all the other houses with Stark tech. However, the problem with that is that the price is that Stark Prime is the ever-present failsafe. Not everyone was open to the idea of a Stark on their shoulder. So, yeah. The system of government is, I never understood this, technocracy. Since all citizens of the House of Iron are always counted as employees, the country itself is run as a business. Voting participation is a constant 100% as it is done via the company-issued Stark suits in exchange for OS upgrades. An elected board of directors function to enact the will of the people, while committees and consultative bodies assist with planning and communication. It is all assisted and overseen by the Chief Executive Officer, which, by the way, is Stark Prime. So basically, I'm not sure. I'd say it kind of is a bit like communism, which is worrying. But this is why a Stark always needs a cap. That's why there's always an Iron Man and a Captain America. So, while I'm not exactly open to the idea, Stark does seem to have the best plan here, and also the best chance of getting everyone off this weird island and home. And yes, the Ancient One actually says in his whole little section about how Stark's plan might be the only plan right now that will work and prevent death of everything. There may be more realms and more houses and stuff, but right now they are not open for us to see, so we'll have to come back later and maybe see if it changes. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this. I know this is kind of long, but basically a sneak peek to let you all know, because you may have all forgotten by now. I know I did, that's why I looked it up today.